Hey, welcome back everybody to Aprons On. I'm Andrew, and before we get stuck in with the cooking, I do want to say a big thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far to my channel. We've only been up a little while and I really appreciate it because there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to make these videos, and I'm still fairly new to it, so it takes me a really long time to get one put together. So thanks again. So tomorrow at our house is grocery day, and about this time of the week I like to go through the fridge, see what needs to be used up rather than throw it away, and just throw something together that we all enjoy. So inexpensive, healthy, easy to make. So what are we going to delve into today? Well, I want to share another one of my winter favorites, and that is a rustic root soup. Very inexpensive ingredients, super healthy for you. If you're a vegetarian or you're vegan, this is right up your street. So let's quit rabbiting on and see what we're working with then. If your kitchen's like mine, from time to time you end up with a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and not much else in between. And that's what this kind of meal is just fabulous for. So what are we working with then on our rustic root soup? Well, it's actually really simple, and I mean, look at the lovely colors. I mean, it's so vibrant. This is a really healthy meal. So I've tried to make the ingredient measurements very simple to remember. They'll all be written down in the directions underneath the video. I've got 50 grams of split peas, 50 grams of red lentils, 100 grams of pearl barley, a tablespoon of dried thyme, tablespoon of rosemary, and half a dozen small bay leaves. I got 5 carrots, 5 parsnips, 4 medium potatoes, 3 turnips, a small bunch of celery, an onion, some cherry tomatoes, and some cilantro, which, you know what, it was in the fridge. I know I'm not going to use it before it goes past its best, so I may as well just throw it in. That's the beauty of making these kind of vegetable soups. They're a great way to use stuff up that you would possibly end up throwing away or composting. And of course, salt and pepper to taste. There is one other ingredient that you don't see on the board, and if I scoot this out of the way. So you may recall a couple of weeks ago when we made the farmer's kale that I saved the cooking juices that we had left over from cooking down our kale, potatoes and onion. And so I put that in a Ziploc bag, bunged it in the freezer until I needed to use it. So I'm going to use that today. If you don't have your own stock, just nip out and grab yourself a box of vegetable broth. So that's it as far as ingredients go. Really simple. The only thing you might want to change out is if you're gluten sensitive or intolerant, then the pearl barley right here, that does have gluten in it. It's a lot less than wheat, but just to be on the safe side, you might want to just substitute that with rice, or you could put just replace it with some extra lentils. Now, if you haven't done it already, then you need to obviously wash your veg off. And I just scrub my veg with a brush, not real hard, and I don't peel them. This is a rustic soup, and I kind of like the vegetables with their skins on. Also, especially with something like carrots, where this is going to be sitting on the stovetop for quite a long time, if you don't have the skins on the carrots, your carrots run the risk of sort of turning into like these little mushy orange fingers. Enough chatter in then. Let's start chopping some stuff up and getting it in the bowl. All right, let's put this rustic root soup together. So peel your onion then. Take the top off, leave the bottom on. You know the routine if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. If you go back and look at my cottage pie video, I show you how to cut up an onion in a dice. So keep the root end on, and then you just cut it in half first of all. Make your vertical cuts. Then just about halfway down the onion, just cut through, but not all the way to that root. Then you just cut them through like that. Then you've got your root left over. Throw them in the bowl. All right, onto our parsnips. What we're going to do is Just top and tail them first of all. Now, because this is a nice rustic soup, I'm not going to split them down the middle first. I'm just going to cut them in to just rounds like that. And when they have cooked down, oh, they're just so lovely. They get sweet, absolutely delicious. Believe it or not, my missus, who is from Holland, where they call these things pasternak, didn't know what they were. She'd never eaten them until she met yours truly, and then she became a parsnip lover. Sounds a little dubious. Same routine with the carrots. I'm being a bit generous with the trim because I put these outside for our wild bunnies. It's been a tough old winter for them up here as well. So just run through your carrots like that. Carrots in the pot. So turnips, I actually love the flavour of them. They've got a smell almost like a radish, quite peppery. They're lovely to add to stews and things. So all I do with these is sort of a really, really rough kind of a cube. So pieces about that, oops. So pieces about that size, look. Same again, like that. What shall we do next? Let's just run a knife through this cilantro. So here's a little tip. When you're cutting things up and you're going to use your knife as a scraper, as we all do, use the spine of your knife, not the blade side, not this side. It helps keep your nice edge. Just a little observation. Tomatoes, we're not going to do anything with them. We're not going to cut them up because they're cherry ones. We'll just pop those straight in. And our celery, we'll just go through, large dice. Potatoes, basically cut them up the same way you did your turnip, sorry. The main thing you're looking for, this is not rocket science, guys. You just want the pieces to be approximately the same size. That way they all cook at about the same rate. So once, turn it again, 2 cross cuts, and there's your potato. So let's have a look at the story so far. It's looking lovely. All these beautiful vegetables. Now we can just add our split peas, red lentils, pearl barley, thyme, the rosemary and the bay leaves, a level teaspoon of pepper, and a level teaspoon of kosher salt. All right, in with our vegetable stock then, that we saved from the kale recipe that we did a couple of weeks ago. Now, you want the fluid to cover these veg. So if you're using this stuff, by all means you can just top it up with that. These veg are going to make their own lovely juices anyway. Right, so to top off then, we're just going to use cold water out of the tap. Use cold water, not hot. That's because we're going to bring this to a boil, just a gentle boil, before we turn it down into a simmer. And if you start out with hot water, obviously the water's going to boil much, much quicker, but that's not going to translate into the appropriate amount of cooking time with your root veg. So take a look at this. Doesn't that look amazing? All those lovely colours. I'll tell you, if you give this a go, you will never just walk past the vegetable aisle again. All we need to do now is get that on the stove. Okay, let's get this on the big burner. Bring it up to the boil. Let's get a lid on there, and we'll come back and we'll check it in half an hour. So this has only been 15 minutes and it's come to a boil. So we can take that off of the big burner, just get it on a lower heat now. We move that onto a lower burner, we're going to get a lid on that, and that's really it as far as the cooking goes. All you really need to do now is just monitor the level. We don't want this to dry out. So we'll come back and check that in about 45 minutes, see if we need to top it up and see how it's doing. Okay, I checked it at 45 minutes and it actually hadn't really lost any appreciable amount of liquid. So let's just have a little taste of the broth. And I'd say the seasoning for that was right on point, for my taste anyway. So my kitchen friends, that is a rustic root soup. Now you can see all that pearl barley has all expanded, soaked up all that lovely broth. All that remains now is to get this in a bowl, cut a nice slice of the sourdough that I made the other day, and we'll give it a taste. Get a few more carrots in there, bit of extra colour. So there you have it, my friends, rustic root soup. So that about does it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up, keep subscribing and hitting the notification button so that you know when I've got another recipe. All there is left to do now is dunk my sourdough bread into this lovely broth. Oh, you got to try this. The next recipe I'm going to do is going to be with some leeks and tilapia. Inexpensive, super healthy again. So I'll see you next time. Cheers.